The 2008 financial crisis, when trust broke. This isn't a story about real estate. It's a story about trust, incentives, and people. What do you hold true?
They can just be like, oh, I put my money in this one. It can't be inflated. Yay, now I can actually save my way to prosperity. I don't have to invest my way to prosperity, which is the game that's being played right now.
We were taught to trust the system, but what if the system didn't deserve that trust? Today, this presentation covers what happened in 2008, why it happened, who paid the price, and why people changed.
They don't have to understand like shadow banking and all that stuff. They can just be like, oh, I put my money in this one. It can't be inflated. Yay, now I can actually save my way to prosperity. I don't have to invest my way to prosperity, which is the game that's being played right now.
Myth versus reality. The crisis was about bad borrowers. The reality is the crisis was engineered from the top down. Historical setup. Before the crisis, easy lending, rising home prices, Wall Street packaging loans, rating agencies granting AAA on bad paper. Right now, we see a couple of these things. Right now, we're starting to see rising home prices, and we're hearing about making plans to deregulate banks. Should we be concerned? Slide 6. Incentives shift. Banks earn money when loans were created, not repaid. So this incentive changed the narrative. Slide 7. Mortgage bundling. MBS, the mortgage-backed security. The loan, the bundle, the sale, the profit. The risk was buried inside complexity. Slide 8. Ratings deception. The AAA rating equaled safe. Reality, it was full of subprime risk. When rating agencies call poison medicine, people get hurt. Interest rate shock. Variable mortgage reset. Monthly payments increased. Defaults on the rise. Home values drop. Prices fall. Families underwater. Foreclosures spread. Fact card. 6+ million American homes lost to foreclosure. That's not data. That's families. I was one of them. I lost 2 homes in this debacle, and it set me back probably 5 years, maybe a decade. Slide 12. The domino falls. Lehman collapse. Bear Stearns falls. AIG implodes. So they made all the profits, but somehow they imploded once nobody could make those payments. Sad fact. 19 trillion in global household wealth was erased. 19 trillion erased. It was not given back to the people. It was taken from, and it was given back to the banks. Market crash. Stock values down $10 trillion in that crash. That's a $30 trillion combined movement. It's a very large movement of money. The human impact. Jobs lost, retirement gone, communities uprooted, pain rolled downhill, and profits rolled uphill. Even worse, the bailout. Taxpayer dollars rescued institutions, not families. Slide 17, fact card. Troubled Asset Relief Program, TARP, $700+ billion approved. People paid for the crisis, then paid again to save the institutions that caused it. Slide 18, the emotional core. This wasn't a real estate crisis. This was a trust crisis. Slide 19, the lesson. Systems built on incentives produce outcome they reward. So what that means is if we incentivize individuals to make profit off of a certain item, like let's say creating a loan, and we de-incentivize the repayment of the loan, what they'll do is they won't care about the repayment portion. They'll simply build to create and generate that profit through that function of creating the loan itself. So this led to bad loans, them trying to create loans for just about anybody and anything. And with AIG coupling with them to reduce the insurance requirement, it was just a perfect marriage of chaos and lack of control. So in deep sight, when profit depends on creation, not repayment, collapse is baked in. Why people change directions. After the crisis, trust eroded, transparency was demanded, and people questioned everything. Slide 22, the birth of Bitcoin. A year after 2009, Bitcoin white paper, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, hit the books. It wasn't a rebellion, it was a response. Slide 23, the principles of blockchain. The reason why we're here and the whole purpose of what I do here is to simply paint out the obvious. The example is the world we live in currently. Right now, we give our money to banks. In fact, we don't even see our cash anymore. It just digitally goes right into a system that is out of our control. And that system is not transparent, and the money they give us isn't a fixed supply asset. And so there are mechanisms outside of our control that can print and destroy the value of the very thing that's holding our value. And so that becomes a problem. So we don't have control. We can't maintain the value. There is no, like I said, direct ownership. And so if you understand history, the rulers create the rules. And when it comes to our value, it is very important that we maintain control, at least in most part, of our value. Our value in this day and age, if anything, is a voice. So you have to have money, at bar none. In this world, in this day and age, you have to have it. And if you have to have money, and the system is gamified to strip money from you at all costs, in all actions, then it becomes very interesting to start to look at why Bitcoin came out and what it really means once you scrape away all the nonsense, the conspiracy theory of it. The simple fact is this: our current system strips our value constantly, and it's unfair to the point where it's leaving people broke, and that can't happen. We have to have ways of acquiring wealth, holding, and growing our wealth without third parties constantly stripping it. And that's what Bitcoin and certain blockchains like Cardano represent. They represent environments where you can interact independently and store your value. They're transparent, they have fixed supply, they're permissionless, and they allow for direct ownership. And even on Cardano, you can actually yield while it's in your own custody. That is a revolution. Cardano is extremely unique and valuable in that way. We promote it for most individuals that are seeking to be sovereign. It is the only place you can self-custody your asset, earn yield returns without it being locked or controlled at any stage of the process. It's all your money, all your access, and all your growth. And that is what blockchain networks are turning into. Slide 24. The shift begins. Millions choose self-custody, not as a protest, but as a way of empowerment. More and more people every day are starting to see companies like Truehold come up and teach people exactly how to self-custody. And when you start to really have honest conversations and you wipe away the nonsense, you start to see that this came out for a reason. And the reason is for you. This is a human story. This is a story about humans choosing something better because the system just isn't really working. They're holding your savings in the account from 2000 to 2005, making profits on your money. Then they get a bonus. You come into their doors one day after giving them profits on your money and say you want a home loan. They give you that home loan at an interest rate and fees, so they get a bonus. They make that home loan on you, and then in 2008, the housing market collapses. You lose that home, and then the banks get bailed out. So they took your profits, they took your fees for the mortgage, you lost the house anyway, and you didn't get any money in return. The banks got bailed out. The system is fundamentally broken that it works that way. The money's going in the wrong direction and it's not reaching the people. It's broken. And that is why direct peer-to-peer transactional systems that are highly encrypted are starting to become more interesting than systems of collusion and control that are stripping our value at will. So that being said, the contrast is the people paid the price, the institutions got rescued. My central thesis. The new question: what if value could be held directly? Do you know how to own your own? Can you own your own future? This is what we learned today. Unfortunately, systems are not perfect, yet we rely on them literally with our life. The system failed, people suffered, bailouts protected institutions, trust was shattered because the people got dropped, and that was the trigger that started the emergence of blockchain. This is True Hold Crypto by James Root. What do you hold true?